It's showtime. What's up, good people? And welcome to the Frank Harris Show, the biggest and the best show in the world. So much going on right now. How you people doing? I hope you're well. So much to talk about today. I want to kick it off right out the gate with the Lakers, right? Not just the Lakers, but let's do a little playoff conversation, a little playoff talk, okay? And then I'll kick off the playoff talk with the Lakers. We talk about the Laker Denver Nugget series. Now, I don't know if you recall, I had my boy Dominican E on the show, and I said the Lakers should lose the first playing game. They should have lost the first playing game to New Orleans and then played the second playing game, won that game, which would have been against Sacramento, and they would have played OKC in the first round as the 8th seed instead of the 7th seed where they are playing Denver now. And I knew that the Lakers would get absolutely obliterated by Denver. And everybody thought it was immoral to lose games on purpose and immoral to lose the playing game, which, by the way, teams sit players at the end of the year all the time and do different types of things to get seeding that benefits their team. So anyway, the Lakers went ahead and won the game, integrity of the game, LeBron James, Darvin Ham, and now they're about to get bounced in the first round of the playoffs. It's 3-1 right now. They playing in Denver tonight. Guess what? It's over. Okay? It's over. All right? So, bad choice, bad matchup, and now it's going to be a problem in Lakerland. And let me tell you why it's going to be a significant problem in Lakerland. If you lose in the first round of the playoffs to Denver, okay, right, the house is on fire. The coach is getting fired. Darvin Ham is the worst coach in the NBA, which is clear. You see him during timeouts. The guy can't draw up plays. The guys are not paying attention. But that's another story. Darvin Ham is terrible. But secondly, it just looks bad when you lose 4-0 last year to the Nuggets in the conference championship. And then you come this year and you lose 4-1 in the first round. Now, if you would have gotten to the conference finals and lost to the Nuggets, it feels a bit better than losing in the first round. So right now, you're going to lose in the first round in Denver, and the Lakerland is going to be on fire, okay? Darvin Ham has to go. AD is not a big enough star. LeBron is this, that, or the other. It's just going to be incredibly difficult for the Laker fans and for people in LA to lose in the first round of the playoffs. That's one. But two, on another note, are we at the end of the road? Although We've Come to the End of the Road was a famous Boyz II Men song, okay? So I'm combining the Lakers' loss to Denver to the Phoenix Suns sweep. The Phoenix Suns got swept. I repeat, the Phoenix Suns got swept in the first round by a very, very confident and upstart Minnesota Timberwolves team. But before I get into that, is it the end of the road for two stars, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, okay? LeBron James is about to lose 4-1. Kevin Durant got swept in the first round. Those guys have been incredible players in the NBA for a lot of years, okay? And we always looked at those guys as number one players and superstars. But guess what? It's a new day. It's a new day. And you see, you cannot win with LeBron James as your number one guy, and you cannot win at the highest level with Kevin Durant as your number one guy. Great careers, but as Boyz II Men said, we've come to the end of the road. Those guys can still play. They have a lot of years of good basketball left in them, but ultimately, they will never be number one players anymore. And by the way, Father Time is undefeated. So we knew that day was going to come, but these two playoff series are indicative of the end of the road for these two guys, all right? Still great players, still can compete and play at a high level, but now they are number 2 players, 2 to 3 players on a championship caliber team. Which brings me to this question. Should LeBron James now abandon LA, okay, go to the Spurs with Victor Wembanyama and try to win a championship there? Bring his experience, his expertise. Wembanyama would be the guy, would be the number one guy, but LeBron James is experienced. He's been the face of the NBA. So what a great guy for Victor Wembanyama to learn from. I'm sure the Spurs will throw in LeBron James' son on the draft in the second round this year if he stays in the draft. I'm sure they would throw that in to get LeBron to come and play. So is it worth the Spurs and LeBron James uniting to try to win a championship with Victor Wembanyama, with Wembanyama being a guy and LeBron James playing a secondary role? Okay? Something to think about. But on the Suns tip. So now the Suns, they amassed and put this incredible team together. They had Booker that was already there. They brought KD over, and then they added Bradley Beal later. Okay, three wings, and they thought these guys were going to be able to potentially lead them to a championship. They got a new owner, right? And he was throwing his money around, and what they didn't understand, and James Jones, as their GM, did a horrible job. I'm sorry to say it, James Jones, but what they didn't understand is you have to put a team together based upon chemistry. You can't just throw stars together if the pieces don't fit, and they have no point guard, okay? So now you have guys playing out of position. When you try to get Beal to play the point, when you try to get Booker to play the point, those guys are playing out of position. And not only are they playing out of position, but you're not putting them in the position where they're strongest. Those guys are shot hunters, not shot creators. They're guys that can create some shots, but their mentality, all three of them are shot hunters. They needed a leader, point guard, to lead on the court, okay, but to get guys in position and to get guys the ball in position. Okay, so Chris Paul, ironically, would have been great if they could have had Chris Paul on this team. Even though he's a bit older, I think he would have been great because he's a really good leader. He's a great passer, great distributor, and he holds guys accountable. So guess what? They get swept out of the first round, right? KD, we know, will never be the player that he was. And shout out to Anthony Edwards and the upstart Minnesota Timberwolves. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. I thought they would win the series, but not by a sweep. And Anthony Edwards is absolutely staking his claim for best player in the NBA. Oh my goodness. He was killing Durant, who's his favorite player growing up, ironically, and talking so much trash. Oh my goodness. It was delightful to watch. So ultimately, end of the road, LeBron, KD as being, first tier guys, obviously. Lakers, the house is on fire. Suns, the house is on fire too, right? It's going to be interesting to see where the Lakers go from here after they lose tonight, and it's going to be funny if the Lakers win tonight, right, and win the series. By the way, let me put this on the record. I'm predicting they're going to lose tonight, all right? If the Lakers win this series and LeBron James leads them here, this might put LeBron James at the top of the GOAT list. Because if he comes back from this against this Denver team, but it ain't going to happen. And the Suns, too. How are they going to retool, get new players, add players, get rid of players? It's going to be very interesting to see what happens, okay? Let's talk about some of the other series quickly. Boston and Miami. Miami got a game. Miami pride. Spoelstra's a really good coach. They have a culture down there. So you didn't think they'll be swept, but they're going to lose 4-1. Right, I mean, and the game they won, especially without Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler's hurt, and the game they won. Let's not forget this. The game they won, they had a franchise record, 3-point shooting day. So it doesn't seem like the Celtics panicked. They lost the game. The Heat got one. That's it. That series will be done soon. And then we go to the Knicks. And the Philadelphia 76ers, which is an interesting series. And it's really interesting to me because I think, Joel Embiid, and it's funny, similar to the Lakers, the Sixers had both of those games, right? At least one of them in New York and lost, okay? And then the New York Knicks and their fans invaded Philadelphia. And they won a really contested, highly contested Game 4 match. By the way, after Embiid said after Game 2 that they were going to win the series, he was sure they were going to win the series, etc. Then the boy Brunson went out there and did his thing. I think he had 47, dominated the game. He was the best player on the court. Embiid had 50 the game before, and he did great. But that boy Brunson came out and showed while Brunson is in the MVP conversation. He shouldn't win it, okay? But what he's been able to do is phenomenal. And not only what he's been able to do in the playoffs and during the season, but he's transformed the whole culture of the New York Knicks. So shout out to Brunson. The Knicks, I think the Knicks will win that series as well. Then you also have, which I think is, a series not worth talking about. Okay, Orlando and Cleveland. Next, we're not talking about that series. And then we have the Clippers against the Dallas Mavericks, right? A lot of superstar power. What an abomination. The Clippers re-signed Kawhi Leonard this year and gave him like $153 million. They re-signed Kawhi Leonard this year. What a horrible contract. The guy's never healthy. Why would you re-sign him to a new 4-year deal or 3-year deal? It's the craziest thing ever. So they re-signed him, and guess what? They're in the playoffs, and Kawhi Leonard is hurt again. Are we surprised? Kawhi Leonard is hurt again. But there's still a lot of superstar power in that series, right? You still got Paul George, and James Harden is a guy that can really have a game like he did yesterday. Great game. He carried the team. Paul George made some big shots collectively. Harden carried the team in the fourth quarter, but Paul George carried the team during the duration of the game. Then Dallas, you got Kyrie, Luka, two super high-level players. Luka's been pretty good in the series. Kyrie's been great. And so that's a great series. I think the series will go to 7. I got Dallas in 7, but I like the way that series is turning out. Great series. It should be interesting. All right. Then we flip to the OKC New Orleans series. OKC New Orleans. I mean, New Orleans. Are you kidding me? I understand Zion is hurt, but Ingram, where's the pride, dogs? I mean, you guys look terrible to a young upstart OKC team. OKC team, very good, very talented, very small. You think about it, right? Chet Holmgren is tall, but very slight frame-wise. And Jalen Williams is the 4. So they're not very big in terms of height. Well, not in terms of strength and height too, right? I mean, Chet Holmgren has decent height, but he's not strong frame-wise. So a guy like Jokic is going to destroy. I mean, Jokic destroys everybody, but he's clearly, right, going to destroy Chet Holmgren because he's too small. But it's just disappointing to watch New Orleans just kind of give up. If you watch the games, they've given up. And you know what makes it worse? These young, brash guys are just rubbing it in. These young, brash OKC guys, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, MVP caliber player, playing as such, killing. But, they just rubbing it in, talking trash. The post-game interviews, they come together collectively as a team. Maybe that's a team that's a little better than we thought they would be, right? I mean, this team is playing really good basketball, so you got to give them credit. But New Orleans, I'm shocked at how bad you guys are playing and how you guys are rolling over in this series, all right? And then we come to Dame overrated dollar, right? And Giannis Antetokounmpo. You're talking about Milwaukee versus the Indiana Pacers. Indiana's going to clearly win that series. By the way, and let's not forget, they're going to definitely win with Dame hurt. Even if he comes back, he's still hurt, so he won't be at 100%. He won't be probably at even 80%. And then you have Giannis, who's also hurt. You saw at the end of the year, that injury was bad. So they're going to lose because of those injuries. But let's give Indiana credit, okay? They were the better team between those two teams during the regular season too. Indiana beat them all year long. And the one game they lost is when they had the big fight when Giannis wanted to keep the ball when he had 60 points. That was the one game when Milwaukee beat Indiana, and it took Giannis scoring 60, I believe it was, to win that game. So Indiana has had Milwaukee's lunch all season long. So Giannis Antetokounmpo playing, Lillard playing, I believe they still would have beat him, okay? And here we are at another crossroads with another team. Another crossroads with another team. What happens in Milwaukee? Because Dame Lillard clearly doesn't want to be there, okay? He's not the right fit for the organization and the team. Him and Giannis are not really gelling like you need two guys to gel. They're not going to win a championship configured like they are with those two guys together because Dame doesn't want to be there. So now, as an organization, if you are the Milwaukee Bucks, what do you do? Milwaukee Bucks, what do you do? I think you may have to break that up too. Okay, so you got the Lakers in trouble, right? Superstar laden team. You got the Suns in trouble, superstar laden team, and now you got Milwaukee in trouble. All these people trying to build super teams, it ain't working right now. Okay, so that's a little NBA playoff recap. It's still a lot more left to go. All right, still a lot more games left to go. And like I said, if LeBron James can lead his team, okay, to winning this series, oh my goodness, that would be unbelievable. We know that ain't happening, but that would be unbelievable. All right, NBA playoff talk. All right. So anyway, guys, just wanted to just jump in real quick, talk a little bit about what's going on in the current NBA season. We'll get back at it again soon. See you guys tomorrow. We out.